Hello and welcome back. Okay, so let's have a go at building Thunderbird 3. Now obviously looking at the box art and the kit itself, there's a little bit of a difference, so the kit's not going to look like the box art. However, it will look, I think, like the photo on the side of the box. If I can get it to focus, there you go. So we're going to try and aim for this result. So as is good practice, we shall read the instructions for Thunderbird 3. Okay, and that's probably what it's going to end up looking like. We're just going to check how we're going to assemble this. So you can see basically it's just a tube with various bits on it. There's nothing really too complicated about this. So these various bits I'm pointing out are going to be painted white and black. And the other pieces I'm probably not going to paint because I don't have the right colour paint, so we're going to go like along the lines of what the photo is. So first things first is we'll cut out the various parts of the sprue. Did I say screw? And I shall do this without cutting my fingers, you'll be pleased to know. The parts on the kit don't seem to have any real flash on them, apart from the obviously where you've got to cut them from the sprue and just trim that smooth again. So it's not too bad. So these two parts are going to be glued together and be painted together as one component. And you'll notice a little slot to line all the various parts up, so that the outriggers will all be nice and straight on the rocket when it's assembled. Okay, so now we're going to cut out the components that make up the main core of Thunderbird 3. So here's the nose. Now the fit's not too bad on the nose cone, it's not perfect. But it should be fine. Okay, so now we've got the nose cone done, we're just going to cut out the middle section, which is just a tube, so it's pretty straightforward. And yes, there will be sanding. It's not just going to be me hatcheting things with knives, so don't panic. Okay, so just cutting out the lower part of the core, very carefully I swear. Okay, we're just going to test fit the various bits. Okay, so that's basically it. It does look a bit like a sci-fi carrot. And we'll just take it apart and we'll actually do some gluing. So just gluing together the fin bit and its ring, because this will be painted in one go, just dabbing a little bit of glue around the top. Always remember when my dad made the first kit that I ever had, he did it for me and he used a lot of glue. He used a whole tube of glue on the one Spitfire. The thing nearly melted. It was a wonder to behold in fingerprints. So just gluing the nose cone together. Just speed this up because I think everyone knows how to use glue, I think. And now the middle section. Okay, and now the bottom section. And I'm just using some of the Tamiya very thin cement that you can sort of like run in from the inside, like a capillary action, where there's like a slight gap. You just put a tiny bit in and it just runs into the crack and seals it up, or glues it up if you like. Now these are the flames for the 3 engines, and what happens is these things run springs, and when the model's lifted off the table, the flames then come out of the engines, and they're powered by springs, very very fine springs. So I'm just cutting these off because I'm going to prep these for painting. I'll put some flame effects on them. So as you can see here, for each engine nacelle, they sort of fit in and they slide in. So there's like a little spring at the end. Get it to focus. Willpower. So when the thing's sitting on the tabletop, the weight of the model will actually press the flames inside, and then when they lift off, they get pushed out. It's kind of an interesting little gimmick. So here I'm gluing on the sort of end stops for the flames, just trimming the little bits of plastic off the rings. You see, I do use a bit of sandpaper. Now, funnily enough, when I was deleting the audio out of this, I realised I was listening to, at one point I was listening to REM's "This Is the End of the World" as we know it, which I have to admit did make me chuckle. Okay, so I'm just going to glue the little end stops on, and then we're ready to paint these. So as you can see, they have got like a little flames etched into them, so we'll just do something artistic with those when we come around to it. Okay, so here we're just removing the engines and their strut things, and we're going to mask them off and get them ready for painting. So I'm just showing you here how the flames work. It's just interesting they've got this moving part feature in these. I haven't taken the springs out of the bag because they go everywhere, so I'm just terrified of losing them. So everything's getting a dusting of Tamiya surface primer in white. So we're going to paint the end cap of the rocket. I'll try to think of a good description for that word. We're going to paint the ring, and we're going to paint the finned thing as well. So we're just giving these a quick going over, and then we'll do the fin. Right, this is a couple of hours later, and what we're doing now is we're just going to spray the end cap black. And we'll do this twice, but I'm only going to show you it being filmed once, if you know what I mean. But there'll be 2 coats of a Vallejo gloss black. Now the struts to the engines are going to have black painted on their knobbly bit. Not entirely sure what it's meant to be, but on the model itself they actually show it painted black. There isn't enough detail to actually do the black alternating black-red pattern, and there's not enough of them anyway to mimic the box art. Now obviously there's 3 of those, so we're just showing you the one being painted for now. And again they'll get a second coat. Now the flames are going to be painted by hand using some acrylic paints, and I'm just going to run cadmium red into yellow whilst they're wet to give that flame effect, if I can get it in shot. Okay, so to further follow the guidelines on the box, I painted the under edge of the fins in yellow by hand, and obviously I did this several times because I was painting on black. But I'll just this is just like the first time round, just to give you an idea what it was like. Okay, so just gluing the base cap thing to the bottom of the lower section, just checking the fit again. And obviously some of the excess paint on the bottom was scraped off to make sure that it was able to make a good join. So here we're assembling the engine nacelles and putting their flame effect mechanism in place. And you can see it's a very fine spring, which does fly off if you're not careful handling it. So the spring goes into this little sort of compartment. I'll just zoom in for you. And then the flame piston thing is basically put into, it's like restrained by the end of that chamber, and you can see how it goes backwards and forwards and flicks out very easily if you're not careful. And then we'll glue that together. Obviously using a very small amount of glue so they don't actually glue our moving mechanism together. Strangely satisfying doing that, don't judge me. Right, so that's our 3 assembled engine assemblies. Okay, so now we're going to glue together the main core elements, which won't take very long. And as I say, it's got an alignment tags built into each bit as you're assembling them, so it'll only go in, apart from the cone. The whole lot goes in as an orientation. The ring was painted white using a can of Tamiya white gloss spray paint, and is given 2 coats. Right, all we need to do now is glue the engines to the core, and we're ready to save the world. Okay, sticker time. Now the stickers that come with this kit are they are not like Dinky stickers, I'll tell you that. They are a little over-engineered, it has to be said, and the glue on them is amazing, because basically once these things go down you cannot remove them. There's no second chance for them, so you've got to be a bit careful. So I do mess one of these up, but there's little guidelines for where you've got to put them etched into the plastic, but it's not really enough in itself. I ended up doing Thunderbird off camera because it was just so fiddly to do. I couldn't do it around the camera. So tell me word that the sticker went on. Now what's funny this as well is it's actually very hard to get the stickers off because the paper was actually cut so deeply. The backing was coming up with the sticker. And like separating them was quite hard to do, so I ended up using a very fine point to actually get them to peel. So as this is quite an old kit, I don't think I'm ever going to get to replace some set of transfers for this if I mess it up. Anyway, the interesting thing is it only gives you 2 3s. You think you get 3 3s, but there's only 2 3s. I'm not quite sure why that is. Or if original Thunderbird 3 was like that, I'll have to go and check. Okay, so here is our completed Thunderbird 3. I painted the lower parts of the engine cells white as per the box, and I forgot to paint the upper parts when I was recording this voiceover. I just realised what I've done. But anyway, I thought I'd just post this as we are now. So as you can see, the sort of feature of the engine flames does make it slightly unstable. It can sort of fall over quite easily. So if you're interested, this model stands 21 and a bit centimetres tall. And it's a bit of fun to do. It's not an overly complicated model, but good fun. This is just a quick shot of the model on the box art. So a bit of fun there from Japan from 1992. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. So if you liked what you've seen, please subscribe. Click the little bell button or you won't get notified of new videos, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. And of course, everyone keep safe and we'll speak soon.